Hi, everyone. Welcome to day one of our next 6-week session of Community Fit. Today is our midweek desk stretch class. And on Friday, same as last session, Friday will be our ACT class with a little holiday twist. It'll be adjusting to change, nervous system management, stress management when dealing with holiday stressors. So without further ado, I'm just going to turn it over to James because I know he likes to prep the class for what the 6 weeks is going to entail. So I'm going to give him all the time that he needs. Okay, thank you, James.
Thank you, Alicia. Really appreciate it. Little show of hands here. If you want to just send up like an emoji. Who here is having a first time experience at Community Fit? Do we have anyone brand new that's never participated before? We'll give it a moment. Okay, we got a couple that we have hands raised. Awesome. Some thumbs up. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Hey, can we get the Community Fit banner taken down? And I don't know if it's just on my end or not, but perfect. There we go. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. I'll speak.
Sorry.
So I want to say thank you so much. I'm James. I'll be your host for Community Fit. And as Alicia said, this is midweek desk stretch. And for those of you returning, welcome back. This is several iterations in, and as Alicia pointed out, we're doing 6-week segments. So we'll be meeting here for 6 weeks on Wednesdays, and midweek desk stretch is an embodiment practice. It's essentially done from your chair. We'll have a few moments where we're up and kind of moving around a bit, but this isn't your classic fitness class. This is how do I take some time out of my day to be in my body and to be present with what it is that I'm feeling, to move through some tension, to move through some stiffness, to move through and awaken the body. And that's going to be different every time you come. So typically what we do here, and we're going to kind of skip over that for this one, but for the next few weeks or 5 weeks after this, I invite you to show up to class a little bit early. We always start at 12:15, but if you show up to class at like 12:13, in the chat, you're going to notice a question that goes something like, what does it feel we need to work on today? Like, what's bothering you today? And that's your opportunity to say, I need some work for my neck. I need some work for my shoulders. What can we do about hips? Or I just need to stretch or I need to move. Whatever it is you're noticing in your body that you would like some support and some education on how to move through whatever it is you're feeling. For today's class, I'm going to invite you into my personal practice because this week, what is it, Wednesday, it's already been a lot. And that's all I'm going to say about that, right? It's already been a lot. And I'm feeling it in my body. And so I'm going to walk you through and invite you to join my practice today. And maybe it will help inspire you to notice things in your body so that in the preceding weeks, you can go, I actually need some support with fill in the blank, right? We always start all of the midweek desk stretch classes with nervous system work. And we kind of do the most simple version of nervous system work on Wednesdays. If you have a nervous system exercise or library of choices you like to pull from, by all means, do the work that works best for you. If you're like, I have no idea what nervous system work is, James, that's what Friday's class is for. ACT program or adjusting to change toolkit. This 6-week period will have an emphasis or contextualization around holiday stressors, which can be a lot of things, right? Sometimes it's seasonal, sometimes it's family, sometimes it's like wrapping up work, sometimes it's feeling like you have too much to do, it's budgetary, it's all sorts of stuff. So we'll focus on that, and that will help you discern what is nervous system work. But again, for today, I'm going to invite you into my practice. So I'm going to be teaching from what my body needs, and I'm going to be walking you through and kind of naming it, and not with the expectation that what I'm feeling and what I need is exactly what you're feeling and exactly what you need. But it's going to help you go, oh, I've never languaged my experience in that way. I've never thought about or had self awareness around these things. And I didn't know that there were some really simple practices I could do anywhere, anytime to make you feel better in your body. So that's where we're going to go today. And like I said, we always start off with some nervous system work. Now, if you've got questions, I always stick around for a little bit afterwards. And the questions that I entertain and I answer are specifically about whatever it is we've explored that day, right? I don't tend to answer or have good answers about things we didn't do that day. So again, if you're like, I've always got a shoulder thing, show up a little early in the coming weeks and go, I've got a shoulder thing. And then we can start a conversation around a movement conversation and a chat conversation around helping you embody every day a little bit better. So I'm done talking. Let's get to the practice. We're going to start with nervous system work. And we're going to start with the simplest version of nervous system work. We always start with the nervous system work because your nervous system is the doorway. It is the key. It is the point and the guiding light for quite literally everything in your everyday experience. And so learning to influence your nervous system is really beneficial. So I invite you first to just notice. Take a noticing an inventory of what you feel in your body. Maybe you're noticing somewhere that feels really good or somewhere that doesn't feel really good. Maybe you notice like how easy is my breath or what does my heart rate feel like right now? Where am I holding tension and where am I relaxed? Any number of those things is just a little inventory. So you know if you made any improvements here in the next 25 minutes. And then we're going to start off with, again, the most simple version of nervous system work, which is simply take a normal human being inhale and an exaggerated exhalation. Normal inhale, exhale, exaggerated, prolonged, as long as you can exhale, exhale. Like I said, I'm going to walk you through my experience. Again, I'm feeling off base from the events of this week. And so I'm just noticing I don't feel in my body right now. I feel kind of dissociated. I feel a little numb and activated at the same time. And so doing that exaggerated exhale is a cue from my nervous system to kind of settle and be present with what is. And so as I do it, I'm noticing I become more aware of the chair, become more aware of the space that I'm in, become more present with the moment. So the invitation is for you to just notice what changes in your experience as you just prolong your exhalation. I'm going to add into that just a little bit of orientation. Orientation is just beginning to look around your space. And maybe it's a little slower than what you would normally do. It's not darting around staring and looking for anything. It's like you're receiving your space. What's above you, to the right of you, behind you, below you? Maybe you're continuing to do the exhale. And that practice to me today feels really important because the stress that I'm holding is symptomizing up in my neck. So, where I could have easily said, I didn't sleep right last night, or I did something weird to my neck, I am acutely aware that it's tension, anxiety, stress related holding going on in my neck. And so I'm just gently moving my neck with the purpose of looking. Because done with that, it's also cueing my nervous system in to like, you're safe here. You are in your room. You are safe. You're just kind of looking around. Now, if it was just me alone in my room, I would probably do this for the next 20 minutes. Like, this is exactly what it feels like my particular body needs today. is just some reassurance that we're going to be okay. Just a little movement of you're going to be okay in this space. But for the sake of class, I'm going to bring my hands together and I'm going to get them warmed. And I'm going to take these nice warm hands and I'm going to put them on my jaw. And I'm just going to start to massage my jaw because whenever there's neck tension, there's probably also some jaw tension going on. And I can take my fingers and kind of go behind my ears onto the jaw. And I'm just going to do a little breathing, do a little massage work here. I turn to the side, it looks a whole lot like this. And then I'm going to take my hands to the back of my neck and let the fingertips touch. And I'm just going to hold and let my elbows relax and my head to the back and then my chin down. Again, it's just with the intention of getting a little soft, gentle movement through the neck. Then I'm going to have my right hand touch the left side of my neck. Big, heavy hand draws to middle as I twist my face to the left. Left hand goes to right throat. Big, heavy hand draws to middle as I twist. Just taking some breath, getting some gentle movement. One more to each side. Last one over here. Back to center. I'm going to just allow my nose to start to draw an imaginary circle on whatever wall is in front of you. Now, again, why am I doing this? Because even though I've just done all of that work, I still feel like there is a resistance in my neck. Like there's just, it's, I can move it all around, but it's just that like it would rather not feeling. And so I'm just going to do this little nose circle. I'm going to sense in my own body where my upper neck meets my skull. I'm going to notice that I'm drawing this imaginary circle with my nose, but where my body is experiencing movement is actually in the upper neck, low skull area. I'm just trying to imagine that area gets a little more greased up, a little more lubricated, a little more movement in it the more I do this. You can have your eyes opened or closed. For me, I'm feeling the urge to close my eyes. So I'm going to honor that and go, I don't need my eyes open to do this. They can be closed. One or two more. And then we can reverse that circle. One or two more. Then I'm going to take my right hand onto my left collarbone and I'm just going to do a little bit of massage. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm pushing into that collarbone at about a 2, right? It's very light-handed. Just kind of petting it, massaging it, touching it. We hold a lot of tension in our collarbones. It's where the throat and neck muscles meet the chest and shoulder muscle. It's like an area, it's like a tug of war area, which then symptomizes and feels a whole lot like shoulder issues. And really, it's collarbone issues. Then I'm going to take that right hand and kind of just slide it underneath the armpit and just hold. And that's just a way for my nervous system, again, very nervous system oriented here, to relax and settle. I always try to go from the easiest, most approachable thing and then go, did that work? Because if so, cool, I can do that super easy. Or do I need more? Always starting with the lowest common denominator, simple thing first, before we get more and more complex. Now I got to move that hand and just notice, did that change my experience over here? And if so, do I like the experience I'm having now? How is it different than the other side? Right now, this feels kind of up here, and this feels wider and softer. I'm now feeling the urge to do just a little general shoulder movement here. So it felt like it needed more. Maybe that was enough for you. Maybe you want to go back to the collarbone stuff or the neck stuff. We got Bob showing up here. Hey, Bob. Bob the dog. You'll start to see him more and more in classes. He's over here. You can enjoy Bob. And then maybe it's a little bigger, right? And again, not everyone needs this. What I'm thinking about right now as I do this is like, it's like I'm pushing away, reaching, and then reaching for something behind me, right? Rather than just getting that motion in, give your arm and your hand a function, right? It's like I'm pushing, reaching, stretching. And then settle and notice, does that side need any more love today? Do you need any more movement, any more caretaking over there, or are you good? For me, this feels good now. So let's move over to the other side. And again, I'm walking you through what I need. So hopefully this is helping you to understand what it is you need. Just a little collarbone love. And then underneath the armpit, just be there with it. Like, that's what I got, right? You're just, here I am with what I'm feeling today. And then maybe just a little generic movement. Or you can make it a little bigger. It's like a push and a stretch and a reach, and a push and a stretch and a reach. Now, again, I can only guide you from what I'm experiencing. This now feels like I'm like my energy level, instead of like, oh, I need to be relaxed. Now I feel agitated, right? I feel the need to like get some movement in my body. That's my nervous system, peaks and valleys, peaks and valleys. So, how do I address that? I'm going to pick my arms up and I'm just going to shake, right? It's almost like allowing yourself to have an adult temper tantrum. I'm just going to do a little shake, just going to do a little movement here and relax. One hand grabs the opposite wrist and the other, and then you do a little tug. And you probably sense some contraction between the shoulder blades. It's like we just did a lot of stretchy movement. Now we're resetting. Squeeze, 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 and then reverse. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then some finger flicks just to get some hand action in. Now, again, we're going to go from subtle to bigger. We just did a lot. I'm going to move backwards a bit. We just did quite a bit of upper body stuff. So now let's tackle the mid body. I'm going to start off with just a little rocking. Right and left. Bilateral swaying is probably the better terminology here. You might imagine that your spine has become seaweed and you're just letting it move. Now, why did I choose this? Well, sometimes when you get some body parts moving, right? You've stretched, you moved, it starts to illuminate or make you more aware that other areas of your body are also stiff. And maybe the other areas of the body are actually what's contributing or triggering the stiffness in other areas. For me, as I was releasing shoulders and neck, I realized, oh my goodness, I'm not breathing well today. I'm tight. I'm not relaxed in my breath. And what is that feeling like? It feels like tension in my kidneys or the back of my ribs. Feels like a little spinal stiffness, like I'm mobilizing for something, like I'm preparing for something instead of just experiencing. And the best way to tackle that is going to be to just kind of soften the vertebra, soften the ribs, and get a little oceanic in your movement, a little like a breeze running through trees, right? Again, if you're brand new to this, I teach from a very narrative visual perspective, more so than anatomical. Essentially, can you transform your middle body into like kelp or blades of grass blowing in the wind? Now, maybe that's enough for you. Or maybe you actually need to do a little bit of like forwards and backwards rocking. And that can look like anything. For me, and again, I'm only teaching from my perspective today, it's becoming a cat cow. So I'm going to look up and I'm going down. And I'm not trying to go like full cow, full cat. I actually don't care about that range of motion today. I'm more interested in creating a feel good experience in my body today. So I'm just going to gently move. Yours might be different. You might be interested in range of motion. You might want to make it as big as you can. That might feel good. For me today, that doesn't feel good. So make the practice your own. You might still be doing neck and shoulder stuff. You might just be doing the breathing, right? It's totally up to you to discern what is the best practice for you today. I'm just lending my experience as a learning platform. Just a little movement. Slowing mine down to match breath. For me, that's looking and feeling a lot like a big inhale and a collapsing exhale. Two more. Now, as I'm doing that, I'm also noticing that I'm not allowing myself to like feel and be seated, which is usually like a hip pelvis thing. Like I'm not allowing myself to feel supported and sink into what I'm sitting on. So, what do we do with that? I'm going to crisscross one ankle over that knee. I'm just going to rock. It's a really good hip opener here. Just doing some rocking. Now, that might be what your body needs. As I'm doing this, I'm like, well, that feels good. But in my imagination, what I'm like hyper focused on right now, without it having intention behind it, right? I'm not making this happen. It's just where my mind is going is immediately into my foot. It's like it wants to be kind of hit a little bit, like it needs some grounding, like it needs to be aware that it's got some life down there. So that's why I'm doing this. You're like, where does the pounding come from? Okay. Well, it comes from some traditional Chinese medicine, some Ayurvedic medicine, myofascial release, all sorts of practices, but really it's like a grounding exercise. And then I can set that leg down and just notice any differences between your two sides, the side that got worked and the other side. My experience now is was working on my left leg. My left foot is more aware. My left leg feels softer, and I feel like I'm sitting into my left butt cheek in a way that I wasn't before. Yours might be different. I'm going to do the other side. Taking and crisscrossing over, just getting some of that rocking in. And then a little bit of the pounding, a little bit of the grounding. and then setting that leg down. Now, from there, you can kind of notice this with my legs. Imagine it's like my feet down below are doing this, like pumping, toes point, heel down, toe point, heel down. And I've got them doing opposite things. You can also pick them up and down. Essentially, my invitation here is for you to imagine your legs need to have a temper tantrum. So they're just going to start bouncing. It's like my feet are hitting the ground, just moving my legs, almost like nervous, restless legs. I can really make them go. They could be smaller. And then maybe they happen at the same time. It's like they're both jiggling, jumping at the same time. And maybe you move your back away from the chair and you try to sit tall without making yourself bigger, but it's just sitting tall. You can kind of feel how that activates some abs, how that activates some back muscle. It's like I have to work to sit up as I do this. And then just breathe. Just notice anything you notice. From there, we're going to practice some rotations. Rotations are really good for the spine and for the hips and to realign and adjust things. It's also really good for calming the nervous system. So it's like a twofer here. Here's what it might look like for you. I'm going to rotate to look behind me to the right, and I'm going to let the left hip kind of come with it, right? I'm not going to fully unweight the hip, right? It's not this. It's like it's still there, but I'm rotating. And once I hold back here, I'm going to do some breathing. Recenter. Then do the other side. And center. Feeling the urge to do a little bit of movement again, right and left. And this image keeps coming to my head. And this is actually one I have never done in midweek desk stretch. But this is one that we used to do all the time in a class we no longer offer called Move Lab. If this exercise or the ideas of this exercise feels important for you, you might want to look at our YouTube page and explore the humongous library we have for Move Lab. The exercise is called Little Shape, Big Shape, or Go Little, Go Big. It's extremely permissive, and there's a lot to it. What is it? It's as simple as it sounds. Seated, standing on the ground, you decide. Make yourself take on a little shape. And that can look so different person to person. It may be just kind of crouched down. You may want to pick your legs up. You may want to crisscross. It's like, how do you compress into the littlest shape you can make and then change your mind and instead make a great big shape, right? You might think, take up as little room as possible, take up as much room as possible. So go little and go big. You may even want to go little and go big. Go little, go big. And then how many different little shapes? How many different big shapes can you do? Go little, go big. Make yourself little, make yourself big. How much more comfortable can you get making yourself small and little? And how much more expressive and big can you make yourself? Taking up little space, taking up a lot of space. Go little, go big. One more of those. Go little, go big. And rest. Come back to your center. And just for a moment, think back. What felt really valuable today? What did you discover about your own body or a movement pattern today? What are you going to practice? Maybe it is going big and going little. Hopefully, we've helped you to language something new, blended some words about your personal experience, and are beginning to give you a library of how to metabolize and move through some of that. Anyways, I'll stick around for whatever questions you might have. Thank you so much, and I hope you join us on Friday for our first Adjusting to Change toolkit class all about holiday stressors. Stick around if you got any questions, and if not, we'll see you soon.
Thank you, James. Wonderful as always. I did drop the YouTube link into the chat when he mentioned all of our past classes. We've got years and years of many classes, so hopefully you can go
Lots
find
and
the lab
lots.
class. I forgot about big shape, little shape. I love
You know
that.
what? I haven't taught that one in so long. And as I was doing it, I was like, I need to feel okay being little today, and I need to feel okay being big today.
Yeah,
So we're doing little and big.
and big shape. Awesome. Thank you so much, James, and thank you everyone for joining us today. And I hope to see you on Friday for Adjusting to Change Toolkit.
You got it.
All
Bye,
right.
everyone. Thank
Thank you.
you.